How can you win if you are female? Can you just do it? No. You have to play the femininity game. Femininity, by definition, is not large, not imposing, not competitive. Feminine women are not ruthless, not aggressive, not victorious. It's not feminine to have a killer instinct, to want to win with all your heart and soul. Femininity is about appearing beautiful and vulnerable and small. It's about winning male approval. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Athletes Voices. I'm your host Andrea, and today I wanted to talk about something that I found in a literature review published in the Applied Psychology online publication of the undergraduate studies at New York University. So it was published in 2012. It's not the most recent literature review, and we'll talk about the shortcomings of that. And it was written by Andrea Paloian. So first, I would like to tell you why I decided to start the episode with this quote. Basically, this paper explains what the female athlete paradox is. And that quote actually really explains that in a way, but we're gonna analyze it further. So this literature review says that male athletes who participate in quote-unquote masculine sports are idolized, not only for their athletic achievements, but also for their physical appearance and representation of hegemonic masculinity. However, female athletes who do not necessarily represent female ideal, such as, Venus or Serena Williams, Mia Hamm, encounter more difficulties in their career as they attempt to balance a feminine image with the masculine qualities associated with their sport. While female athletes are more likely to encounter this conflict, the writer says in the literature review that males who participate in more quote-unquote feminine sports, such as, figure skating, dancing, cheerleading, are also subjected to this. So basically, what this literature review says is that women who engage in athletic activities are empowered, but if they try to do so while keeping an acceptable feminine demeanor, it's seen as disempowering. What gender studies show is that if female athletes want to be accepted in their sports, they need to stick to masculinity. So in the sense mentioned at the beginning, so being victorious, being strong, being all those things. But at the same time, if they want to still be respected as a woman in society, they need to be feminine, according again to the first quote. And so these two ideas are contradictions. So in many ways, female athletes cannot win. That's what the first quote was saying, basically. On top of that, some sports are deemed more feminine and others more masculine. So if, as a woman, you practice a feminine sport, as I said, such as figure skating or gymnastics or whatever, it will be easier. Things get more complicated if you practice a masculine sport like, motorsports, ice hockey, boxing, and things like that. Of course, as I mentioned, this paper dates back to 2012, and I've seen changes. I think, first of all, what is feminine and what is masculine is slightly changing, and that's also thanks to the athletes and other people in the world who push the boundaries established. That being said, the paradox is still true in so many cases. For example, this conversation reminds me of Sha'Carri Richardson. For those of you who don't know her, she's an American track and field sprinter, and she qualified for the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo. She ended up not going for other reasons, but that's not the point of the conversation today. Before the Olympics, she ran 100 meters in 10.72 seconds, which was a new personal best for her, and she became the 6th fastest woman of all time at that time, and the 4th fastest American woman in history. And of course, people were talking a lot about what she did because it was crazy. But a lot of the conversation in media, for example, was also about her femininity. When she did that, she had a full face of makeup with fake eyelashes and extremely long nails while doing so, right? Her appearance actually created controversy. Some people were supportive and loved it, but others couldn't take her seriously because she was quote-unquote too feminine. If I'm taking her as an example, it is to say that the idea society has of femininity and masculinity as rigid structures that cannot be changed is a problem, because most people actually are in between. The same can be said, for example, when the Williams sisters, Serena and Venus, were becoming so good that a lot of people in media were questioning if they actually were even women. And there's a lot more examples like that. In the literature review, there's studies that show that athletes themselves describe feminine qualities as slender, weaker and slower, passive, and more unsure of themselves, which contrasts with their perception of masculine traits, which are more muscular, aggressive, strong, confident. In these studies, the women interviewed found that this gender differentiation placed limitations not only on their athletic competence, but also on the ways in which they were publicly perceived when compared to females who followed traditional feminine norms. However, the participants also expressed a sense of pride and appreciation for their athletic skills and their physical power, along with enjoyment in portraying a feminine appearance when they choose to do so. So these results suggest that athletic women may have the ability to challenge and even redefine what it means to be a sportswoman, and I would even go as far as say what it means to be a woman, period. What I really want to share today is this idea that if as a woman you like things that are deemed feminine, like, I don't know, makeup, it shouldn't stop you from practicing whatever sport you are practicing as a professional athlete or as a regular woman who likes to do specific sports. On the other hand, if you don't like anything deemed feminine and play a sport, it doesn't make you automatically not enough of a woman or too masculine. Also, another thing I haven't mentioned that the article touches on is the idea that there's a female and a male stereotypical body type. Of course, this changes according to culture, but in Western view, men are supposed to be more muscular and women more frail. This is a very broad definition that I'm giving you right now. So what I want to say is that the sport you practice will make your body adapt to it and thus look a certain way. Of course, there's not one specific way to look as an athlete, even in like a specific sport, because every body type is different, and so everybody's gonna adapt differently even to the same sport. And the way you look depends, of course, on so many things such as genetics. But if I'm mentioning body here is because if your sport makes you more muscular, for example, it challenges what femininity is, at least here in the West. To conclude, I would like to say that the views of masculinity and femininity are changing and are expanding right now, which is really good to see, because as we are expanding our vision, it gives room for more freedom to be yourself and express yourself freely. And honestly, the same goes for men, by the way. I know this podcast is about women, but I have to mention the fact that it's also good for men to be able to expand our definition of masculinity and femininity. So I hope you appreciate the little conversation. I know it was a bit of a different kind of episode. I wanted to share my thoughts on that paradox, which is still very real, but we are definitely making progress, and it's good to see. Share your thoughts with me. If you are on YouTube, you can just comment down below. Let me know what topic you would like me to discuss next. Don't forget to share with your friends this episode, like, subscribe, all those things. And I'll see you in the next one.